Good morning. My name is Era, and I will be this portion of the service leader today. My pronouns are she and her. I'm a middle-aged white woman with short reddish hair, and my spinal stimulator is acting crazy today, so pardon the flapping. Thank you, Colleen, for the prelude. It was Look to the Rainbow with music by Burton Lane. We are glad to have you here, and we hope that you can stay for coffee or tea and conversation after the service. Please see your bulletin or the board in the hallway for announcements and upcoming events. The chalice lighter in the sanctuary is Jennifer. The chalice lighting words are from Adam Slate. When the great mosaic of humanity is treated with respect and dignity, when no person is threatened by hunger or war, when we have extended hospitality to the stranger and tended to the sick, when equity and justice reign everywhere, then we shall all be free. We light this flame to hold that moment in our spirit and in our minds until we can make it real.
Rise up, O flame, by thy light flow. Show to us beauty, vision, and show. Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing. Show to us beauty, vision, and joy.
Good morning. I'm Becca Reynolds, one of the dozen Beccas that's in this church. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I'm a redhead. I'm wearing a black dress with little flowers. And for the 7,000th time, I am an out and proud trans woman. Happy Pride Month. I'm to give you your opening words this morning. They are a protest and a party. This comes from Hannah Roberts Villeneuve. I think I got that right, Jane, didn't, huh? I think I do too. People sometimes ask, is pride a protest or a party? And the answer is, of course, yes. And why not? Why not rejoice as we resist? Dance as we demand change. Celebrate as we create community that delights in all of who we are. So bring all of that with you this morning. Bring your policy demands, bring your glitter, bring your Supreme Court broken heart, bring your rainbow socks, bring the emptiness you feel for our siblings gone too soon. Bring your Gloria Estefan remix. Bring your tender hope for change. Bring your most garish eyeshadow. Bring your spirit tattered and battered by a world that seems insistent on choosing fear and hate. Gather up all these things and bring them here to a place where we don't have to shoulder those burdens or celebrate those joys alone. Come, let us worship together. Our song of the month is With Heart and Mind. It's number 300 in the gray hymnal. You may stand or sit to sing your choice, and the words will also appear on the screens behind me. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Lynn. I have blondish hair. I use she, her. I have a flowered top on with two of my favorite colors, coral and turquoise. The Time for All Ages today is a story video called I Am Jazz by Jessica Herthel and Jazz Jennings with pictures by Sheila McNicholas. It will be read by Jazz Jennings. As a teenager, Jazz was a youth ambassador for the Human Rights Campaign, and she is a transgender activist. Hope you enjoy.
Hello, this is Jazz Jennings, and I am going to do a reading of my book, I Am Jazz. I am Jazz. For as long as I can remember, my favorite color has been pink. My second favorite color is silver, and my third favorite color is green. Here are some of my other favorite things: dancing, singing, backflips, drawing, soccer, swimming, makeup, and pretending I'm a pop star. Most of all, I love mermaids. Sometimes I even wear a mermaid tail in the pool. My best friends are Samantha and Casey. We always have fun together. We like high heels and princess gowns, or cartwheels and trampolines. But I'm not exactly like Samantha and Casey. I have a girl brain, but a boy body. This is called transgender. I was born this way. When I was very little, my mom would say, "You're such a good boy." I would say, "No, Mama, good girl." At first, my family was confused. They'd always thought of me as a boy. As I got a little older, I hardly ever played with trucks or tools or superheroes, only princesses and mermaid costumes. My brothers told me this was girl stuff. I kept right on playing. My sister says I was always talking to her about my girl thoughts and my girl dreams and how one day I would be a beautiful lady. She would giggle and say, "You're a funny kid." Sometimes my parents let me wear my sister's dresses around the house, but whenever we went out, I had to put on my boy clothes again. This made me mad. Still, I never gave up trying to convince them. Pretending I was a boy felt like telling a lie. Then, one amazing day, everything changed. Mom and Dad took me to meet a new doctor who asked me lots and lots of questions. Afterward, the doctor spoke to my parents, and I heard the word transgender for the very first time. That night at bedtime, my parents both hugged me and said, "We understand now. Be who you are. We love you no matter what." This made me smile and smile and smile. Mom and Dad told me I could start wearing girl clothes to school and growing my hair long. They even let me change my name to Jazz. Being Jazz felt much more like being me. Mom said that being Jazz would make me different from the other kids at school, but that being different is okay. What's important, she said, is that I'm happy with who I am. Being Jazz caused some other people to be confused too, like the teachers at school. At the beginning of the year, they wanted me to use the boys' bathroom and play on the boys' team in gym class, but that didn't feel normal to me at all. I was so happy when the teachers changed their minds. I can't imagine not playing on the same team as Casey and Samantha. Even today, there are kids who tease me, or call me by a boy name, or ignore me altogether. This makes me feel crummy. Then, I remember that the kids who get to know me usually want to be my friend. They say I'm one of the nicest girls at school. I don't mind being different. Different is special. I think what matters most is what a person is like inside. And inside, I am happy. I am having fun. I am proud. I am Jazz. To all of the kids out there who are hearing this book for the first time, I just want to say that you can be like Jazz. You could be your true self. I know that it's hard living in this world and that sometimes people just don't understand. But if you just stay strong and keep moving forward and just stay true to who you are no matter what, then one day things will get better and you will be able to live your life as your true and authentic self. So always love yourself and always spread that love to the world around you because you are beautiful no matter what.
Good morning. My name is Mark. I'm, as you can see, sort of a tall, elderly gent with long gray hair. And today I've been told I'm not wearing orange, but persimmon. So I think that's a great place to be. By the way, I do have pronouns, he, it, whatever, but comrade and poet. Comrade these days because of the pickle that we're in. Okay. I think I've lost where I'm supposed to be here. I think I have. Bear with me, I'm finding it. Here we go. Thank you, Millie. I actually found it. I've already said who I am. As we focus on the theme of freedom this month, we celebrate freedom to show up just as we are. Sometimes we enter this space carrying a great weight, the weight of sorrow, of worry, of anger. Sometimes we enter feeling light with joy and celebration and free to be who we are. As a community, we share joys and concerns to keep connected to each other. Slips of paper available at the greeters table out front for those in the sanctuary to use for joys and concerns. And you can also do that by Zoom. And you can send it in to us during the week at pastoralcare@springfielduu.org. If you're on Zoom, please use the chat box for sending yours in. And there should be some up here. Don't see any. Could it be possible we don't have any? Yeah, you don't have either, huh? Well, I have one. It's from me. It's a concern and a joy with pride. My concern is for the American-backed cataclysmic Israeli genocide by starving children and infants in Gaza. This shocking crime must end. My joy and my pride is in the continuing muscular condemnation of this horrendous crime by our very own UUA standing up against this ghastly evil. Proud of ourselves. I can't hear. Which show me where you are. No. Oh yeah, I missed that altogether. Ah, to begin. Sorry, guys, this is not my day. So to go back to begin, the beginning, we hold in love all of us, those present and those absent. We light a candle for our church community. It is a joy that to donate the basket collection on June 15th to help the local housing crisis was $206. We honor the complex and heartbreaking struggles of our world. We light a candle for all who are impacted. In closing, for those joys and concerns that remain unspoken, we light a candle. May we hold each of these joys and concerns in our hearts and minds. May our community of love ease sorrow and boost celebration. And now let us join in 1 minute of silence, followed by a spirit of life.
Hello, this is, hello.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Morning. I'm Holly. My pronouns are she, her. Um, I've got long, increasingly graying hair, wearing my gray and blue shirt. Always got to have blue. This week in UU history, places. The week of June 29th in UU history. On July 3rd, 1819, the first issue of the Universalist magazine was published. Hosea Ballou was the editor, and Henry Bowen, a member of Ballou's church, was the publisher. The editorial policy on the front page proclaimed that this weekly periodical would deal with momentous subjects of doctrine, religion, and morality. The magazine title transitioned several times. The Christian Leader and the Universalist Leader were published continuously from 1819 until 1961. When the Unitarians and Universalists consolidated, it became the Unitarian Register and Universalist Leader, and then the Unitarian Universalist Leader. Its current incarnation is UU World, a bi-monthly and now quarterly magazine published by the Unitarian Universalist Association. Offering our gifts to support the work of building inclusive and just communities is one of the many ways we live into justice and equity together. Some of us have much to give, and some have little, and together is enough. We are enough. To work together for a world where every human can live into their best and most authentic self. Today is the fifth Sunday of this month, which means that we will be taking a collection for the Congregational Relief Fund. This fund has been quietly helping folks for many years. Givers and receivers, both groups benefit from the Congregational Relief Fund. All the cash in today's basket will go to the CRF unless you want your cash to go towards your pledge. If so, place it into an envelope with your name on it. If your check is for the CRF, be sure to write CRF on the memo line. If electronic giving is your preferred method, or if you are on Zoom, virtual giving options are available via our website, springfielduu.org. The offertory is Canon in D major by Johann Pachelbel, performed by Colleen.
Thank you, Colleen. Friends, today is our Pride Sunday, and we can't talk about pride without having to talk about why there is a need for pride. So please consider this a bit of a content warning in that the need for pride is that oppression against and violence against marginalized communities remains. And so there will be reference to those things today. And also, I will be using the word queer today. And I am aware that people of particular generations that are older than mine have some challenge with that word. Both people who are a part of the LGBTQ community and have had that word used against them, and people who have always been told you can't use that word because it's offensive. In recent decades, there has been a reclaiming of the word queer, in which it serves as a bit of an umbrella term that, if you'll pardon my language, I often tell my students means I'm not straight and the rest of it's none of your damn business. So there, it's a little bit of an umbrella term, and I invite you to hear it in the way that you need to hear it, and my apologies if it is offensive in some way. I spent most of the last 2 weeks gathered with colleagues, both UU colleagues and campus ministry friends from several liberal mainline denominations. I was both in Baltimore and St. Louis, and in both of those places, there was a great deal of discussion about the role of the church in doing justice. And when I say the church, I mean the big C church, the whole big wide swath of it, including the parts of it that we don't so much care for, and the parts of it that we're a part of, that all of the big C church is called to do justice. But in St. Louis specifically, with my campus ministry and young adult friends, the topic of the conference was justice and joy. I served on the planning team for the conference, and when the theme began to emerge and we started talking about potential speakers, I knew that some of my contemporaries from my Eden Seminary days would be an excellent choice, and I was not wrong. So in the last week, I've heard from Episcopal priest Father Aaron Rogers about using tools of Afrofuturism to develop liberatory practices for seeking justice in our contexts, while using radical imagination to center joy in the process. I heard from my friend, Disciples of Christ minister, Reverend Dr. Deetra Wise Baker, about the joy of being in partnership with others, organized against injustice, while centering the lives of those who have been pushed to the margins. And I heard from UCC minister, Reverend Tracy Blackman, that our joy is resistance, our laughter is liberation, and our hope is holy. All three of these colleagues have extensive experience in organizing the church to respond to the needs of the community, particularly in their case, the Black community, the queer community, and low-income working class community in a post-Ferguson St. Louis. And when I say post-Ferguson, I mean the St. Louis that we know after many of the rest of us caught up to the fact that police violence against Black people in St. Louis was a thing, that systemic racism was alive and well, that the characteristics of white supremacy culture were killing our Black and brown siblings still. And after all of us saw Michael Brown's body lay lifeless in the street for hours on August 9th, 2014. That's the post-Ferguson St. Louis to which I make reference today. You see, state-sponsored violence against individuals and communities of color was not novel on that day. It just came into the public eye in a way that pulled back the curtain for the rest of us to see it and hopefully to begin to care. And to quote the great Saint Lizzo, it was about damn time. Likewise, for the LGBTQ plus community, the event that we remember this weekend, what we call Stonewall Day, commemorates a moment in the history of queer and trans activism where the fight went public. There was nothing new on that day about police violence against the queer and trans community. Nothing new about mafia-run businesses profiting from an oppressed community looking for a place of shelter and sanctuary. Nothing new about some folks being sick and tired of the abuse and finding their strength to fight back. What was novel at Stonewall was that the decision to fight back and a multi-day sustained uprising by the people who frequented the gay bar known as the Stonewall Inn captured the attention of others who began to take notice and to imagine that they too could do something. Others who would then themselves fight back and who began to imagine that equity and justice might just be possible. So let's begin with that thesis, that equity and justice is possible, that tapping into our joy in the process is necessary, and that the Big C Church has an important role in making it so. This morning, we heard opening words from Hannah Roberts Villeneuve. Is pride a protest or a party? And she answers yes, with an invitation to bring it all. Your heartbreak and your highlighter, your glitter and your grief, your demands and your delight. Because pride, real pride, not the rainbow-washed corporatized version that we call rainbow capitalism, is and always has been a protest and a party. So let's go back there to where those public pride marches were born. They started in June of 1970 on the one-year anniversary of the Stonewall Uprising. Many of you know what that is, but some do not. So let me offer some background. It was the summer of 1969, 2 years before I was born. Queer and trans people, especially trans women of color, sex workers, homeless youth, butch lesbians, and drag queens were living under constant threat. Raids on gay bars were routine. So-called sexual deviance was a crime in most places. Police violence was expected. The Stonewall Inn was no sanctuary by today's standards, mafia-run and poorly maintained, but it was a place where the LGBTQ community could gather, dance, and breathe a little more freely. On the night of June 28th, another raid began, but that night something shifted. The community said no more. They pushed back. They threw coins and bottles and furniture and whatever they could get a hold of. They refused to go quietly, and for 6 nights, the streets filled with voices and bodies and rage and hope. The uprising ignited a new phase of LGBTQ plus liberation, not led by the mainstream, but by those at the margins. In many cases, by Black and Latina trans women, Marsha P. Johnson, Sylvia Rivera, Stormy DeLavery, and countless others whose names we'll never know. Stonewall wasn't the beginning, but it was a spark catching flame on dry, righteous kindling, the kindling of pain and hurt, harm, but also hope and healing. And it wasn't just a rebellion. It was an eruption of joy. Even as bottles and coins and furniture were flying, there was dancing in the streets. people claiming their own bodies and their own beloveds, celebrating the holy defiance of simply being who they were. We gather today to honor that legacy and to live into it. Because pride is not just about where we've been, it's about where we're going. And friends, we still have miles and miles and miles to go. In some cases, we have miles to traverse again that we thought we were past. Terrain that we thought was in the rearview mirror. Fights we'll have to fight again. Even more now, more than 50 years later, LGBTQ plus people, especially trans folks and queer youth, face a wave of legislative attacks, book bans, bathroom bills, healthcare restrictions, the resurrection of Don't Say Gay, the criminalization of drag, the erasure of trans identities. And closer to home, we see school boards and library boards and universities gut DEI programs and cancel pride events in the name of political safety. So let's not pretend that pride is just a party. But let's not forget, it's still a party. Because joy is not a distraction from justice. It's a form of it. It's the fuel behind it. To dance under threat is an act of resistance. To kiss your beloved in a public place is a kind of protest. To wear a full face of glitter when the world wants you invisible is a sacred declaration. I am here, I am whole, I am holy. One of the Stonewall ancestors was particularly committed to a face full of glitter and the insistence on her own wholeness and holiness. She was Marcia P. Johnson. An article from Aid Atlanta gives a good introduction to Marcia P. Johnson. They write, Marcia P. Johnson was known as the mayor of Christopher Street in New York's West Village neighborhood. When the gay liberation movement burst open in June of 1969 with the New York City Stonewall uprising, Marcia was at ground zero, playing a prominent role in the Gay Liberation Front, and later in 1972, establishing the first ever shelter for gay and trans youth, Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries, or STAR House, with Sylvia Rivera. Marcia was known as a spirited, kind, and caring person throughout the New York City community that she was a part of, and she never shied away from standing up for equal rights. She was an outspoken advocate for trans people of color, and when people would inquire about her gender, which happened frequently, she would tell them that the P in her name stood for Pay It No Mind. Marcia was also an AIDS activist with the organization AIDS Coalition to Unleash Power, or ACT UP, from 1987 to 1992 during the AIDS epidemic in New York City. Marcia found joy as a self-made drag queen on Christopher Street, infamous for her unique design and costume creation made of thrift store finds, and later toured with the theater troupe Hot Peaches from 1972 through the 90s. She was a popular figure in the New York City art scene and did some modeling for Andy Warhol. Sadly, Marcia's life ended abruptly when she was tragically murdered on July 6th, 1992, at the age of 46. Despite her untimely death, Marcia's legacy lives on through those she impacted and through the Marcia P. Johnson Institute, whose mission is to end violence against all trans people across the U.S., especially Black trans women. Among the resources provided by the Institute is a Transgender Bill of Rights, the demands of which include the right to safety, the right to connection, the right to respect, the right to self-care, the right to determine visibility, the right to comprehensive health care, the right to legislative protections, and the right to radically affirming faith communities. As Unitarian Universalists, we are called to this work, both by our principles, such as the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and by our stated values: justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity, all held together with love at the center. So for the rest of my time today, I want to focus on one piece of the Transgender Bill of Rights: the right to radically affirming faith communities. Radically affirming faith communities are those where people can engage in spiritual practice or worship within a community that supports, uplifts, and affirms one's identities. Where people connect deeply with their spirituality without fear of judgment or exclusion, knowing that their identities are not just recognized, but cherished. What if we look at these values deeper? What if justice didn't just mean we don't discriminate, but we honor the divine in every trans body? What if interdependence meant we didn't just welcome people in, but we built a world where every person could lead if they were called to that? What if generosity didn't just mean tolerance, but tenderness? Cherished. That word isn't policy language. It's sacred language. Cherishing is what you do with something sacred, something irreplaceable. So let me ask us this, beloveds. Are we that kind of faith community? Do we use affirming language that respect people's chosen pronouns and names, recognizing that we're going to get it wrong sometime and not responding to that with defensiveness, but with a willingness to learn? Do we refrain from making assumptions about people's gender identity, sexual orientation, or relationship status, and use open language in expressing our curiosity about those things? It is 2025. Please don't ever say to a woman again that you don't know, "What does your husband do?" Please. Do our policies protect trans people in explicit, meaningful ways? Do our rituals reflect a full spectrum of gender experiences and spiritual wisdom? Do our trans siblings feel safe and celebrated when they step into this space? Radical affirmation means we don't wait for people to prove they belong. We begin with the truth that they already do. We begin with the truth that their joy is our joy, their freedom, our freedom, their beauty, our collective liberation. And friends, this message is not just about our trans siblings, though let me be clear, we start here because our trans siblings, and particularly trans siblings of color, are actively in the most danger. But this work, this practice of radical affirmation opens us up to everyone. It's a gateway, a widening. You see, appreciative knowledge about any group that is different from us, when we practice it, when we act on it, it turns out opens us up to all who have been pushed to the edges, to all the people and groups who are different from us. If we make our space safer for trans people, we will find ourselves better at welcoming people with disabilities. If we uplift queer wisdom, we will find ourselves more ready to receive the stories of Black elders. If we practice radical welcome for neurodivergent folks, our whole theology of belonging begins to shift. This is not a burden, and it's not getting inclusivity points. It's just how justice and joy work together. The more room we make at the table, the more beautiful the feast becomes. This is how love works. It's expansive. The more you share, the more you experience it yourself. So here is an invitation, a challenge, a blessing. Let us become the radically affirming faith community that this world needs. Let us be bold. Let us be clear. Let us be celebratory. Let us embody the kind of joy that throws open doors. Let us build a sanctuary where trans people don't have to fight for space because it already belongs to them, to us, to all. Let us not settle for being welcoming. Let us become cherishing, liberating, joyful, empowering. Let us make the protest a party. Let us make the party a prayer. Let us make our joy a sacred fire that burns away injustice at its roots. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen. The interlude is Deep River, a spiritual arranged by Teresa Wilhelmi, performed by Colleen. As we prepare to leave this place after we sing a closing song together and extinguish our chalice, I want to invite you to go with this charge. Go now in joy. Not the shallow kind that disappears with the sunshine, but the fierce, rooted joy that blooms even in protest. Go now in justice. Not the cold kinds of rules and order, but the living justice that sings and dances and dares to love out loud. May your glitter be sacred. May your grief be shared, your love be loud, and your liberation contagious. You are not alone, and you never have been. So go, rejoicing as you resist and joyfully dancing your way toward the world we're all still dreaming into being. Our final hymn is We Are a Gentle, Angry People. This hymn was written by Holly Neer on the occasion of the assassination of San Francisco Mayor George Moscone and Supervisor Harvey Milk. Milk was gay, and the two were murdered because of the homophobia of Dan White, a former member of the city supervisors who blamed Milk for his problems. These events were the subject of the 2009 film Milk. If you haven't seen it, please do. Feeling a need for being with community after hearing about the shooting, Holly Neer was in a carload of people who just wanted to be with their community in San Francisco, and she wrote this song along the way and sang it for a large gathering of people at the San Francisco City Hall the night of the murders. The words will be on the screen. You're invited to stay seated or stand, whichever you prefer, and then we'll extinguish our chalice. We're gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our love. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our love. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing for our love. We are a justice-seeking people, and we are singing for our lives. We are young together, and we are singing for our love. We are young together, and we are singing for our love. We are a land of many fathers, and we are singing for our love. We are a land of many fathers, and we are singing for our love. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing for our love. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing for our love. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing for our love. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing for our love. We will now extinguish our personal and communal chalices. If you're curious about those words, there's a bunch of people on Zoom and they light their chalice at home, and they're going to extinguish it at this time too. Join me in our unison sending words. Our service here is ending. Our service to the world begins anew. Go in peace, friends.